This video will explain the use and the significance of the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem has many real-world applications, many of which can be found within our homes. We will be using a number of household items during the video lesson to help us understand as well as test the validity of the Pythagorean theorem. Please pause the video now and gather the following materials. The Pythagorean theorem takes its name from the ancient Greek mathematician Pythagoras, who we think lived around 500 BC. Pythagoras' proof involves the calculation of the side lengths of a triangle. Triangle, 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 triangle. But wait! According to Pythagoras, the theorem only holds true for right triangles. A right triangle is a triangle who contains a right angle as one of its angle measurements. Before we see what the formula for the Pythagorean theorem is, it's very important that we understand some basic vocabulary. We already learned what a right angle is and how it makes up a right triangle. Directly across from this right angle is our hypotenuse, usually labeled as C. The other two remaining sides of our triangle we call our legs, usually denoted leg A and leg B. Now the Pythagorean theorem states that if we take the measurement of leg A and we square that measurement and we add that to the measurement of leg B squared, then their sum should equal the measurement of our hypotenuse C squared. Let's see if this holds true using our household materials. Okay, so for our first example, we're going to need a cereal box, a ruler or tape measure, and a pen or pencil. We're going to take the ruler and place it at the bottom of our box, and we're going to measure out 4 inches and mark it with our pen or pencil. We're going to do the same thing for the left side of the cereal box and mark it to 3 inches. And now with our straight edge, we want to form a line between the two, thus creating our right triangle. Now if you recall, the Pythagorean theorem states that a squared plus b squared equals c squared refers to the sides of a right triangle. So we need to figure out a way to determine which two sides of our triangle are our legs and which side is our hypotenuse. Notice at the edge of the box, this is the largest angle. So therefore, the side opposite of this is going to be our hypotenuse, C. Thus, the remaining two sides are our legs, A and B. So our next step is to actually substitute our measurements into the Pythagorean theorem. 3 in for A and 4 in for B, as these correspond to the leg measurements. Our next step is to simplify by squaring our terms, simplifying once more to where we have 25 equals c squared. Now our next step is to take the square root of both sides. However, we're going to run into some complications because c can equal 5 or c can equal -5. So what do? If we recall, c refers to the measurement of a side of this triangle. Since we cannot have a negative measurement, it cannot be -5. Therefore, c has to equal 5 inches. Now we can double check this by placing our ruler on our cereal box and seeing if it actually measures out to be 5 inches. Our next example is one of my favorites. It has to do with being able to figure out the height of a building, the length of a ladder, or the distance between the base of a ladder to a building. So given the following picture, say we wanted to figure out the height of the third window. Say we are given that the ladder has a measurement of 10 meters, and the distance from the base of the ladder to the building is 5 meters. We can use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out the height of the third window. Similar to the last problem, we want to identify where our right angle is, as this will tell us where our hypotenuse is. In this case, our hypotenuse is our ladder measuring 10 meters. Thus, the remaining two sides are our legs. Now we want to jot down the Pythagorean theorem, and we want to substitute in the appropriate values. Notice in this case we are given the hypotenuse, and we want to solve for one of the legs. We do some quick simplification. And now we want to solve for h squared. So now we're left with h squared equals 75. Like we did in the last problem, we want to do the square root of both sides, to where we get h equals the square root of 75. Now if you put this in a calculator, this will give you a repeating decimal. Depending on what your teacher wants you to round off to, you can do that accordingly. However, the most accurate answer is the square root of 75. Thank you guys for watching this video. If it helped, please leave a like. For future videos, please subscribe. And if you have any questions, please comment in the comment section below.